So how does depression manifest in children? As early as 2 years, I mentioned, there's a possibility of a child beginning to develop depression. And between 2 to 5 years, we look for some specific things that would tell us that the child is not okay. Number one is illnesses. The child is having aches, fevers, you know, because at that time they are developing the concept of the language. They begin to talk about headaches and stomach aches, and these illnesses have no medical cause. So when we begin to see children suffering so many illnesses that have no medical cause, then it could be pointing us to their mental wellness part. The other aspect we see with children is they become very, very clingy. All of a sudden, children do not want to be put down. They want to be all over you. When you come home, they are extremely disturbed. They don't seem to want someone else. And this is also a sign that they may be dealing with some level of emotional disturbance. The other thing that we look out for between 2 to 5 years is when children are struggling a lot with so many tantrums. They are very irritable. Anything small will take them to cry for longer and also cry more or cry intensely. So if you see this, especially the excess crying, it is not normal. There's some level of emotional disturbance. While it is true that between 2 to 5 years, it's harder to diagnose it as depression, but their emotional well-being is usually very challenged at this time. So when you see these symptoms, then you might as well begin to seek the services of a child psychologist, not necessarily a psychiatrist, if they have been given a clean bill of health by the doctor. So between 6 to 10 years, again, we see manifestations of children differently. Some children may get very irritable and very aggressive. They are hitting on things, they are biting on people, they are throwing things, they are basically bordering self-harm or harm for others. I don't know if you've seen clips of children crying and hitting and almost feeling like, hey, this children is a bit overboard. Sometimes society calls that indiscipline, but you see there's a prolonged thing of the child being too aggressive, something that wasn't there, then it could be pointing to some level of depression or emotional disturbance. Then also, we see some children, while some become overexcited, doing very harmful, dangerous things and laughing about it, then other children go on the extreme, isolated, not talking, not wanting to play, not wanting to do anything with people. A lot of crying and, you know, freezing in some part of the corner of the house, then that again could be pointing to the emotional disturbance. That, if it is prolonged past 2 weeks, would be a pointer to depression. Then also we see a lot of agitation and inability to deal with people, peers. When they deal with peers, they are struggling. Things that they used to do very comfortably, it's very difficult to play because there's a lot of conflict between them. That could be a pointer to depression. If a child between 6 to 10 years is having weight issues, they were not struggling with weight, now they are having weight issues. All of a sudden there's a drop in their body weight, or they are gaining too much weight within a period of time, then that could be a pointer to depression. Also, we will find children that struggle with sleeping. They are sleeping and so many nightmares are popping up all of a sudden. Also, a lot of complaining. Children complain about everything. And they also have negative view of self. They keep on saying, I can't do it, my sister can do it better, so-and-so can do it better, I don't know how to do it. That would be a pointer to depression. There's another very common symptom where children become very withdrawn and go back to previous stages. Either they start to bedwet, they start to cling, they cannot feed themselves, they're asking to be fed. The things that they would have done perfectly, like, clean their room, they no longer cannot do that. They become suddenly very disorganized and not caring for self a lot. Between 6 to 10 years, that would be a pointer that you're dealing with a depressed child. So at this point, I need to say there's no shame in seeking help. When you realize that a loved one, yourself, or even someone close by is suffering, there's no shame in seeking help. Actually, seeking help is a sign of strength and not weakness. So there's help available, there's treatment available, and someone can get better. There is no shame in seeking help. If you need help or you know someone who does, leave a comment below and we will get back to you.